football fans, we are ready for NFL picks for week number 12 in the league where they play for pay. Great to be back with you. The best audience in all of YouTube is right here. Week number 12 already, Thanksgiving week. How fast does the season go by now? I mean, it goes by in the blink of an eye. Didn't we just start? Season's 3 months old. December's around the corner. The playoffs are going to be here before you know it. Hard to believe we're in week 12 already. I had another spectacular week picking games last week. 11-2 overall. Remember, another game tonight. I'm picking early on Monday. 124-37 after 11 weeks. Let me say it again. 124-37 after 11 weeks. Show some love. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum rolling. Remember, just a few shows left. We're coming down the home stretch now. No buys this week either. Week number 12, pick number 1. Let's go to Thursday, Thanksgiving. We got 3 big games on Thanksgiving. Let's go to the early game. Remember, the early game is at 12:30 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time, not 1 o'clock. They start a half hour early. You don't know how many times I've turned the television on at 1 o'clock on Thanksgiving and the game's in the second quarter, and I'm like, what happened? Starts a little early on Thanksgiving Day. Let's go to the early game. Let's go to the Motor City in Detroit with the Buffalo Bills, a -9 against the Detroit Lions. I can't call them the Kittens anymore. How about the Lions? They're up to 4-6. They've won 3 in a row, and they smacked around the New York Football Giants in the Meadowlands. The Lions are starting to play a little better. They're starting to show a pulse. Let's give them a little love. Buffalo, they had some week last week. Had to move the game out of Buffalo to Detroit. Now they're back in Detroit this week. They had all that snow in Buffalo. Couldn't even practice a lot last week. They finally get to Detroit. They beat Cleveland. They're up to 7-3. They were kind of choppy in the first half. Played better in the second half. I'm still expecting more out of the Bills. I still want to see more out of the Bills. I expect more from them. You know, they have Super Bowl aspirations. They haven't played all that great the last month. They got to start picking it up right now if they want to make the Super Bowl. They should be kicking ass and taking names. So Buffalo, -9, back in Detroit. Listen, I know the Lions are up to 4-6. I know they've won 3 in a row. I know they beat the Giants. They are not on the level of the Buffalo Bills. They just don't have that kind of talent. So conservatively, the way to play this game, 3-team teaser, 9 points, move it to pick them and take the Bills. I have to think the Bills have enough to get by the Lions. The Lions would show me an awful lot if they can win this game. I don't think they can do it. So I'll take the Bills conservatively there in a 3-team teaser to win the football game. Bills, pick number 1 on Thanksgiving Day. Pick number 2, this is the second game on Thanksgiving. Let's go to the Big D in Dallas, Jerry's World, where the Dallas Cowboys are -8.5 against the New York Football Giants. Giants are down to 7-3. As I just mentioned, they got smacked around at home by Detroit, and the Giants took a ton of injuries. Robinson is now out for the year. They have a lot of other guys out. The Giants, through 10 games, have done a tremendous job. Daboll is way ahead of schedule. Maybe now the Giants take a step back. Schedule's going to get harder in Dallas this week. They have to play Philly twice. They're still in good shape for the playoffs. Maybe they take a step back now. How about the Dallas Cowboys? They're up to 7-3, and they just destroyed the Vikings in Minnesota. I mean, that was a performance for the ages by the Cowboys. I used to always say the NFL was year to year. Now it's week to week because Dallas didn't look good at all against Green Bay. Defense didn't look good at all. But they just destroyed the Vikings in Minnesota in all aspects of the game. The Cowboys could not play any better. Could not play any better. When I first looked at this game, I was like, I'll move it to 14.5 and take the Giants, division rivals. I like to take the underdog. Then I looked at the game, and I looked at it some more. And the more I looked at it, the more I liked Dallas. Like I said, the Giants, a lot of injuries now. They're hitting a tough part of their schedule. Maybe they take a step back. And Dallas looked so awesome last week. It's hard to go against them 4 days later in their own building. And Dallas already beat the Giants in the Meadowlands this year. So I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to move it to 2.5 and take Dallas to win the football game. They just look too good to me. And the Giants are too beat up. And they don't have much time to prepare for this game. So I like Dallas minus 2.5 in a two-team teaser. That's pick number 2. How about them Cowboys? Pick number 3. This is the night game on Thanksgiving. Let's go to Minnesota, where the Minnesota Vikings are minus 3.5 against the New England Patriots. Patriots are up to 6-4. They beat the Jets. That was a defensive struggle right into the end. Then the Patriots run back a punt, win the game. Patriots had to have that game. Couldn't drop to 5-5. They needed that game in the worst way. Vikings, as I just mentioned, they got manhandled by Dallas. They're down to 8-2. They just got destroyed. And I'm going to give the Vikings a little bit of a mulligan here. They had won 7 in a row. They hadn't lost in 2 months. They had that epic comeback against Buffalo just a week ago. I'm going to give them a little mulligan here. I think they were due for a bad performance and a bad loss. I didn't think it would be this bad, but I'm going to give them a little bit of a mulligan. This is a very interesting game. I'm going to move it to 9.5 and take the Patriots. I think it'll be low scoring. I think it'll be defensive. Patriot defense usually comes to play. And Minnesota now has to show me how they're going to respond after that devastating loss. How they're going to respond. Let's see. It's a very important week for Minnesota. I'd like to see how they respond here. But I'm going to take New England plus 9.5 in a two-team teaser to at least keep it close in a low-scoring defensive game Thanksgiving night. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4. Let's go down to Miami. South Beach, fins up. When the Miami Dolphins are minus 11 against the Houston Texans. Texans down to 1-8-1, lost to Washington. They just can't score. They just cannot score. And they're going to have the number 1 pick in the draft. The Texans draft a quarterback. Mills is not a starting quarterback. He's a nice backup. He's not a starting quarterback. The Texans can't score. I think they haven't been over 20 points in the last month. And I think they've been over 21 points maybe twice the whole year. They cannot score. They're going to have the number 1 pick, draft a big stud quarterback. Miami, they're 7-3. They're off a bye. They're in first place. Listen, you have to like the Dolphins here in your big teasers, your 3-team teasers, your 4-team teasers, your super teasers. The Texans don't have the firepower to keep up with the Dolphins. When 2 are quarterbacks, the Dolphins are undefeated. They have those 2 great receivers. The defense now will pick up now that they got Chubb. The Dolphins can play with anyone. They are a real threat. They're a dangerous team. And the Texans cannot match firepower with them down in Miami. Miami rolls in this game. Play them in your big teasers. That's pick number 4. Fins up. Pick number 5. Let's go to Jacksonville, Florida, where the Baltimore Ravens are minus 3.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville's 3-7 coming off a bye. Baltimore's up to 7-3. They beat Carolina. They didn't look all that great on offense, but they got the job done. Defense played well. Like I said, a little choppy on offense. I'd like to see them score a little more points against Carolina, but they got the job done nonetheless. Baltimore is in first place in their division. Listen, I look at these 2 teams. Baltimore's 7-3, a now team, and Jacksonville's 3-7, a team, rebuilding. There'll be a ton of Baltimore fans down there in Jacksonville. I gotta like Baltimore in the money line here. Move it to the money line, pick them, and take Baltimore. Baltimore's just a more complete team, and I think they'll get that offense cooking this week. Jackson will play better this week. The offense will play better. And I just do not trust Jacksonville at all. I just do not trust Jacksonville at all. I think Baltimore's the better team, the more, the now team. Jacksonville's still rebuilding. I like Baltimore in the money line. That's pick number 5. Pick number 6. Let's go with the dog pound in Cleveland. It's a strange game with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are minus 3 against the Cleveland Browns. Browns down to 3-7, lost to Buffalo. Watson should play in a couple weeks, but the season is long gone now. Cleveland lost too many close games early in the year. Too many of those games they lost, like the Jet game. Tampa Bay, they're 5-5. They're coming off a bye. They've looked better the last couple of weeks. This is a bizarre game. I'm going to move it to 9 and take the Browns. It should be cold, nasty, ugly weather in Cleveland. Tampa Bay has trouble scoring. I think it'll be another one of these low-scoring, close games in bad weather in the dog pound in Cleveland. So I'll take the Browns with 9 points at home to at least hang around. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Not too far from here with the New York Football Jets are minus 4.5 against the Chicago Bears. Bears down to 3-8, lost a tough game to Atlanta. The Bears have lost a lot of close games this year too. Fields got banged up. He's questionable this week. We'll see if he plays. Jets down to 6-4, lost a heartbreaker to New England. Give up the punt return at the end. Couldn't do anything offensively. Zach Wilson didn't play well at all. The defense continues to play well for the Jets. Listen, if Fields plays this week, I'll move it to 10.5 and take the Bears. If he doesn't, I'll probably throw the game out. He's questionable right now, so keep an eye on him. If he plays, move it to 10.5, take the Bears. If he doesn't, just throw the game out. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. Let's go to Nashville, Tennessee, where the Cincinnati Bengals are -2 against the Tennessee Titans. Bengals are up to 6-4, beat Pittsburgh, played a lot better in the second half than they did in the first half. Remember, Chase is still out. Tennessee, they're up to 7-3, beat Green Bay on a Thursday night football. Tennessee is a solid football team. I think the wrong team is favored here. I think Tennessee at home should be favored by 2, not Cincinnati, especially with Chase out. And Cincinnati plays a lot better at home than they do on the road. Tennessee should be favored by 2 in this game. I'm going to move it to 8 and take the Titans. I get the Titans at home with 8 points. I think they're going to win the game outright. I like the Titans to win outright here, and I love them in a 2-team teaser with 8 points. Like I said, I think the wrong team is favored. The Bengals play better at home than they do on the road, and Chase is still out. I got to like the Titans here in Nashville. That's pick number 8. Pick number 9. Now, here's a beauty. Let's go down to Carolina. If it wasn't Thanksgiving week, my bags would be packed for this game. Where the Denver Broncos are -2.5 against the Carolina Panthers. Ouch. 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 Carolina down to 3-8, lost to Baltimore, scored 3 points. The defense played hard but did nothing offensively. Mayfield a couple of interceptions. Denver, they're down to 3-8, lost to Vegas in overtime. Oh, Denver, what a disappointing year for them. They thought they were going to be in the playoffs for sure with Russell Wilson. They thought they were going to be a contender. They've been an absolute disaster. An absolute disaster. Interesting to see what the Walmart people do. I think they're going to make changes sooner rather than later. I think that coaching staff is going to go soon. This is just such a messy game. Do I have to pick it? Do I have to pick it? If I have to pick it, I'm going to move it to 8.5 and take Carolina. I get the home team, 8.5 points. Neither one of these teams should score. So it could be a 9-6 game somebody. It could be a 6-6 tie for all I know. But I'll take Carolina plus 8.5. Personally, I wouldn't go anywhere near this game, but if I had to play it, 8.5 with Carolina. Could be a 9-6 type of game. That's pick number 9. Pick number 10. Let's go to the capital, Washington, D.C., where the Washington Commanders are -3.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are up to 5-6. They beat Chicago. Washington, how about them? They're up to 6-5, beat the Texans. Washington is playing a lot better now. Heineke has a winning record, as a starting quarterback. Heineke's been doing some nice things. Now listen, I don't think he's great, but give Washington credit. They're up to 6-5. Whoever thought they'd get up to 6-5? I didn't. This is another very interesting game. 2 evenly matched teams. I'm going to move it to 9.5 and take Atlanta. Both of these teams play close games. Atlanta is in a close game every single week, it seems like. So I think they should be in another close game this week. Field goal game either way. I'll take Atlanta plus 9.5 in a 2-team teaser. That's pick number 10. Pick number 11. Let's go out to the Great Northwest, Seattle, Washington, where the Seattle Seahawks are -4 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Seattle 6-4 coming off a bye, holding on to first place. Las Vegas, they're up to 3-7. Finally got a win. They beat Denver in overtime. Finally won a close game. They finally showed some life, Las Vegas. Very strange game. I'm going to move it to 10 and take the Raiders. I'd love to get the hook there and make it 10.5, but I'll take the Raiders nonetheless. The Raiders have been in a lot of close games this year. They've lost most of them. They finally won a game, so I'm thinking they're going to be, at least close in this game. Interesting to see how Seattle plays down the stretch. They've had a really nice season so far. They are in first place. Can they hang on to it? San Francisco is nipping at them. I think San Francisco is going to pass them. If you had to ask me, I think San Francisco passes them. But Seattle right now holding on to first place. They've done a nice job, but I think this game will be close. So I'll move it to 10 and take Las Vegas. I'd love to get the hook and get it to 10.5 and take Las Vegas. But that's the way I play that game. That's pick number 11. Pick number 12. Let's go to the desert in Arizona, where the LA Chargers are -3 against the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals, of course, play tonight in Mexico City. I think McCoy will quarterback tonight. I think McCoy is getting the call tonight. Arizona's 4-6. As I mentioned, they're playing tonight in Mexico City. LA Chargers, they're down to 5-5. Lost another tough game to Kansas City. That's 2 tough games they've lost to the Chiefs this year. So Chargers at 5-5. It's a very big game as far as, do these teams want to stay alive for any sort of playoff aspirations? They got to have this game. Got to have it. I'm going to move it to 9 and take Arizona. I think it's just going to be close. I think Murray might play next week. And I think the game is going to be close. Most of these games in the NFL are close this year. Most of them are field goal games. This seems like one of those type of games. So I'm going to move it to 9 and take Arizona. Field goal game either way. That's pick number 12. Pick number 13. Let's go to San Francisco. With the San Francisco 49ers are minus 8.5 against the New Orleans Saints. Who dat? Saints are up to 4-7, beat the Rams. San Francisco 5-4, they play tonight. San Francisco, as I said, a half a game behind Seattle for the division. I'm going to move it to 2.5 and take the Niners. The Niners have been playing really good football at home. I don't think the Saints are all that great. I know the Saints won last week, but that was against the beat-up Rams. I don't think the Saints are going to go all the way across the country and go into San Francisco and win. I think the Niners are a good, solid home team, and I think the Niners are going to start to put some things together down the stretch here. So I like the Niners minus 2.5 and a 2-team teaser. That's pick number 13. Pick number 14, let's go to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, where the Kansas City Chiefs are minus 11 against the LA Rams. Who thought that would be such a high spread at the beginning of the year? Rams have fallen completely apart. They're down to 3-8, lost to New Orleans. Stafford, another concussion. Well, at least they said he might have had a concussion. Then they changed it, but he's beat up. The Rams are beat up. They're finished. Kansas City, they're 8-2. They beat the Chargers. Kansas City now top seed in the AFC. They're a major contender to get to the Super Bowl again. Listen, 3-team teaser, 4-team teaser, super teaser. You got to love Kansas City here. You can't like the Rams under any circumstances to go into Kansas City and win the game. With that anemic offense, the Rams can't outscore Kansas City. No, siree. Kansas City wins this game. Play them in your big teasers. That's pick number 14. Pick number 15. This is the Sunday Night Football game. Let's go to Philadelphia. Fly, Eagles, fly. With the Philadelphia Eagles are minus 6.5 against the Green Bay Packers. Packers down to 4-7, lost to Tennessee. They couldn't keep that good mojo going after the Cowboy win. I didn't think they could. I think Green Bay is a pretender this year. They're not a serious threat. I think they're finished. Philadelphia, they're up to 9-1. Came back and beat Indianapolis. That was a very tough game. So Philadelphia 9-1 right now, top seed in the NFC. I'm going to move it to basically pick them in a 2-team teaser and take Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the better team right now, the more complete team right now. They've played better football consistently this year. Green Bay, they've had a moment here and there, but they're not consistent. They're not consistent at all. You got to like Philadelphia, Sunday Night Football, at home in that madhouse with those fans. And like I said, Green Bay, they're just not any good this year. They've had a flash here and there, but 4-7 is 4-7. I'll take 9-1 over 4-7 any day of the week. I'll take the Eagles there. That's pick number 15. Fly, Eagles, fly. And pick number 16, this is the Monday Night Football game. Let's go to Indianapolis, Indiana, where the Colts are minus 3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers down to 3-7, lost to Cincinnati. Played a good first half, a bad second half. We know Pittsburgh's not any good. They're rebuilding. They need major changes in the offseason. We'll see if the offensive coordinator, stays. Looks like they're going to get rid of him. They need a bunch of upgrades in all aspects. Rebuild around Kenny Pickett. Pittsburgh needs help in a lot of areas. Indianapolis, they're down to 4-6-1, lost a heartbreaker to Philadelphia. Led for a lot of this game. Let it get away at the end. Couldn't get down the field at the end either. Tough loss for the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to move it to 9 and take Pittsburgh. I think, again, a very close game. Probably a very choppy game, defensive game. It's a hard game to predict either way. You just don't know what you're going to get from either one of these teams. So I think it's going to be close. So I'll take the 9 with Pittsburgh in a 2-team teaser and go that way in a very tricky game. Not one of my favorite plays, but I'll move it to 9 and take the Steelers on Monday Night Football. That is pick number 16. And a couple other things. First of all, Bill Cowher's got to shut up. He's all over the Colts interim coach, Saturday, for getting the job. First of all, he's an interim coach. He might not be the full-time coach. They made him the interim coach, Cowher. Okay? They just made him the interim coach. They're going to interview other people at the end of the year. They're going to interview other candidates. They just have him as the interim coach. And Cowher is getting all on him, saying, how could he get this job? He has no experience. Well, Cowher, how much broadcasting experience did you have when you got the main job at CBS? Were you ever a sideline reporter? Did you ever work college football? Were you ever doing games in Albuquerque, New Mexico? No. You went right to CBS, the top job you can get, and you had no experience as a broadcaster. So look in the mirror, Cowher. Look in the mirror. Were there other people more qualified than you for that job as a broadcaster? Look in the mirror, Cowher. And another thing on Troy Aikman, I should have mentioned this before. Aikman went on and on all week about how they should do away with instant replay in the NFL. Aikman, shut up. We're going into the year 2023. You're going to have replay in the NFL. And generally speaking, they do a great job with replay. Aikman was going on and on about how they should get rid of replay. He was going on about some call in the Washington-Philly game when the game was already over. I think they called a late hit on Heineke, and he was all upset about it. It was a late hit. So Aikman piped down, and if the Cowboys ever lost a Super Bowl on a controversial call, you would be screaming for replay. So Aikman, shut up. Aikman and Cowher, stand down. I don't want to hear it. And Aikman's the same guy every week that hangs out with Mike Pereira, the head of officiating, going over the replays, every week. So Aikman, don't be a hypocrite, please. Aikman and Cowher, pipe down. So there you go. You're all caught up. Week number 12. Like I said, 124-37 after 11 weeks. Let's keep it going. Hard to believe we only have a few weeks left in the regular season. Thanks as always for the support. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'll talk to you next week. Enjoy the games. Take care.